Hello everyone, and for this time, not greetings from New York, greetings from my house in Plymouth. It is the end of February now. I am recording a long overdue video to do a reflection on my time at the New York ISPA Congress way back in January. I had said when leaving New York and upon returning, I was going to do a kind of summary video of the experience and upload it to try and reflect on the whole week. I haven't done that until now, so I'm long overdue of that. So this is my best efforts to try and let you guys know how I have reflected on the experience since and what I think I've kind of taken away from it. So a bit of a kind of refresh for people, or for those of you who haven't seen the videos before. I am an England Fellow of ISPA, the International Society of the Performing Arts, excuse me, supported by Arts Council England, which means that between 2017 and 2019 I will be supported to attend the ISPA Congresses, which happen in New York in January and in various places globally in May of each year. It means I'm part of the global kind of ISPA community, which is made up from many people from a number of countries. I think it was 56 countries were at the ISPA Congress in New York this January. And kind of not formally stated thus far, but for me personally, I am responsible to take the experience forward and to try and use it to benefit other people. Part of that for me is recording these videos, is giving you guys an insight into what ISPA is and how I have found the experience. So as I mentioned, I was in New York in January. There are a whole series of videos that I've uploaded to YouTube, day-by-day reflections of the experience and what I've taken away from it. You can find those. They will probably be over here down the side. You can see them on the playlist, but also I will upload them and let you guys know where you can find them. If they're not obvious, I'll put them in the description or something at the bottom. But yeah, so I recorded videos day by day to reflect on my experience of what I was taking away from the experience each day and what was coming up. And that was a thing for me to make sure that I process things in the context they were originally kind of given, that being day one. And not kind of trying to do days 1, 2 and 3 reflected on in day 4, so my mind was kind of altered by what had been discussed on the second day. So if that makes any sense at all, that was a really bad explanation. But yeah, this is much more about putting the thing in a whole context of kind of taking 1, 2, 3, 4 days and kind of going whoosh, putting it all together and reflecting on it in that way. So this is my my best effort, which probably is going to seem terrible to you all. This is my best effort to kind of summarize that. So starting off, I went to New York in January for a week. That was very nice. I got to arrive and it was snowing, and it was this whole kind of like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 2 running around New York as a little boy who didn't know where he was and what to do. That was fun for a little bit. I had like a day of that before all the ISPA stuff started off, which was nice. I also got to catch up with friends. I've got a couple of friends who have a very small child, a young little girl, who I hadn't met and I hadn't seen them in years. So that was awesome to catch up with them, and their daughter is like the most amazing little girl ever. She's like my muse now. So yes, hello Lucy Davis, you are the best. But yeah, so that was a nice little kind of perk to it, but that was kind of dwarfed completely by going to the Congress and that being the bulk of the trip, and everything that came with that in terms of kind of information overload and firing off so many things into me in terms of inspirations and challenges and provocations. So yeah, so basically we had a day for all of the global fellows that took place on the Monday, and then the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was the Congress proper. Again, I've talked about these things day by day in some detail in videos, so kind of reflecting back and summarising it as a whole picture. Now, firstly, having the opportunity for the fellows to have a day together on Monday was really valuable. We come in all at a relatively, I guess, a fairly similar level, I guess is the idea, that we are kind of kind of fairly emerging. We're not senior managers necessarily. We are developing our careers still and building them up. And everyone is, first things first, everyone's really lovely. Everyone's really friendly, and being a new fellow, they were so generous and warm in welcoming me and the other English fellows as well, Annette and Nasli, who both were going for the first time as well when I went. So welcoming to us, but also so inspiring in terms of their backgrounds and their stories. That, everyone had very unique backgrounds, and in terms of either the work that we do or our kind of progression of how we got to where we are, but also the context in which we work in terms of the different countries and what's happening in the world. So much that you kind of took from meeting these people and going, wow, you achieved some amazing things in the world in which you work. And it kind of makes you go, from being a white male theatre producer from England, going to meeting these really amazing, inspiring people, with a range of kind of backgrounds of ethnicity, of religion, of gender, of ability and disability, sexual orientation, all that kind of stuff. Just a diverse group of people, and going, like, you guys are really inspiring to me. That's such a brilliant start to the week to have that and kind of go, boom, it's there. That's the global community that you're part of now. And like I say, everyone was really welcoming. I have quite a big imposter syndrome thing that I get quite a lot in those situations. I personally, from the background in which I'm coming into these things, I find that I don't necessarily feel like I should be there. My background, I come from a pretty working class family, and there were no connections to me getting into theatre. It's just something I kind of stumbled across and loved. And there's still so many elements, even having done it for like nearly 15 years, that I go into a room and I just kind of go, there are so many people here I don't feel are like me. And I'm sure everyone gets that at various extents. But hopefully everyone who does get that feels welcomed in situations like I did at the ISPA Congress, of kind of going, everyone's here because we love what we do and we care about it and want to use it to make a difference. And yeah, everyone was so welcoming and warm about making it a comfortable experience for us to integrate into. But yeah, the people's stories were inspiring. You've got people working in some incredibly difficult, limiting and sometimes traumatic situations and circumstances, and they do stuff and they make things happen, and they tell stories of people that need to be told, and they make art that is of value, and it is important in not just their context but in a global context of to educate and to inform. And it was a question we were asked about, do you think you have power? And I think we all answered a kind of a yes, no, but to varying extents. But there is a degree to which we have power. And I think it's a big thing that I'm taking away from the experience, and I'm sure a lot of other people are, is going, we are a select group of people, but we're selected because of who we are and what we do. And it gives us a position of power to be able to, to take this experience from ISPA back and give it to other people and share an insight, but also to make work that speaks to people and for people, and say, to educate and to inform and entertain people. That's a lot of power that we have. I've come back from being at ISPA so inspired and so challenged by what I got during the week, that I'm constantly thinking, what can I do in Plymouth, in that context, to tell those stories and to reflect on what I got from this. But and it's really challenged me to think about my work and Plymouth broadly as in a more global context. In Plymouth, we are in 2020, we are having a series of events to mark the 400th anniversary of the Mayflower setting sail and arriving at Plymouth Rock. It's somewhat of a kind of difficult situation because of the kind of history of the displacement of Wampanoag people in the States, and that's quite a difficult thing politically to kind of get into. But the reality is that the events will be happening, and for me, it's kind of about making sure that the people that I work with on the levels of being grassroots and being emerging get represented in those situations and get to have their voices and to tell the stories that they want to tell, and to develop their practice. But it's going to be a global experience. whilst there are similarities to my day-to-day stuff, which is working in a much more local and regional context, like putting things on a global scale is quite important. And it may not be scale as in big productions, but it's scale as in people from across the world might engage with what they do, and being from Plymouth doesn't mean people won't appreciate it. So, you know, I'm really keen to make sure that stuff happens in Plymouth that represents those kind of artists, and that there's a legacy of what they do, and they get to carry things forward. And you know, I haven't really thought in that global context before going to ISPA and going, this is a global community, and you know, it opens my thinking up entirely. The whole Congress, you know, spoke about so many things in a global context, but so many things that were relatable to the day-to-day work that we do. You know, it's from the use of technology to how we help people and tell their stories. All of that is just kind of, you know, like synapses firing off in my brain, kind of going, we could do this, or we do this, and how do we do it better and do it to tell more stories. Those kind of inspirations are constantly firing in my head, and this is where it becomes difficult to summarize the experience in this kind of a video, because day by day my thinking changes, and what I take away from it changes, because a different stimulus comes in, or something else pops up in my head in relation to something I do in the day, or a conversation I have, and I go, God, we could do that as well. But this is the great thing about the fellowship program, is that I'm on the program for 3 years. I didn't go in expecting to get all the answers in day one. I very much went in kind of going, I'm going to be a sponge, and I'm going to soak in the knowledge and take the first experience of the Congress and see how it goes, and use that to inform me moving forward. It's brilliant that I took so much away from it the first time. I wasn't expecting to do so. I was expecting to kind of go, okay, now I've got the feel for it, and next year I'll be able to take more away from it. But that wasn't what happened. You know, I did feel like I learned a lot, so I know I'll go in the next time feeling more comfortable and more confident to engage and speak up, I guess, a little bit, be more of an active participant. But it's not about the 2 congresses a year. It's also about everything that happens in the spaces in between, and what we do in between, and how we take that back. And you know, that's a really good thing to have 3 years to do that, and to keep learning and keep building. You know, and also it's not just about the 3 years. It's about what happens afterwards as well. You know, I don't end my membership of ISPA by finishing the fellowship. You know, I can keep engaging, but also I will take everything that I learn over the years and keep applying it and moving forward. That's really important. And you know, I'm very fortunate that I was selected for this opportunity. You know, there were lots of applications, I know, and I was chosen. And Arts Council, you are probably insane people for choosing me. There are probably much better people than me who could have been on this program who applied, but you're kind of stuck with me now, because I'm going to make sure I get the most out of this. So thank you for the support, and giving me the opportunity to hopefully not cock it up. But yeah, you know, it's I really want to make the most of this opportunity and take so much forward. And you know, part of the thing about doing these videos is to give me internally this commitment to go, I'm going to reflect on this and take it forward, and go, I'm going to do these videos, but also I'm going to reflect properly and think about what I'm learning, and I'm going to make sure I'm sharing that with other people. You know, not just the conversations I have day by day, but maybe you're watching it and you've never heard of ISPA before, and you go, that sounds quite interesting, I'd like to find out more, and you look into it, and then you get involved, and then suddenly amazing things happen and you change the world. Brilliant. You might go, that all sounds like a load of nonsense, and what you're talking about, and it might make you seek out other opinions. Or you might have been at ISPA and you go, that wasn't my experience, or go, actually I hadn't thought of it in that way. All that kind of stuff is really important. You know, it's a big commitment I've made this year to go, I'm going to do videos, and I'm going to make sure I reflect on things. So hopefully it is useful to people, not just me, but hopefully other people will look at this stuff and go, okay, there's something I can take from that, from what he's saying, in his insane ramblings of a crazy person on YouTube. Hopefully it is of use. I mean, it's certainly of use to me. And it's very easy in kind of living 100 miles an hour to have experiences but not to reflect on experiences. And yeah, it's something that probably at various points in my career I've been guilty of not really reflecting and analysing what's happened, and this is a means with which I can do that, but also can be committed to do that and try and make sure that I do it in as eloquent a way as other people can understand it. So yeah, but you know, in regards to all of that, you know, I'm very open and keen to have conversations and engagements beyond just me talking to a camera. So, you know, if you have any thoughts or comments about anything, or don't understand anything that I've said in these ramblings, or had a different experience, then, you know, go down to the comments down below and put something in, or you can find me on Twitter or whatever. Absolutely happy to chat and to ping that around a little bit. So, you know, that's a really important thing, to have a dialogue. And like I say, for the ISPA Congress, you know, we have these various Facebook groups and stuff, and you know, the wonderful world of social media. You know, one of the great things about living in this globalized time, that we have these connections that happen far outside of, you know, the ISPA congresses. I can talk to people in Brazil, like Daniel, for example, who's one of the other fellows. I could talk to him on Facebook about stuff if that came up. You know, that's the kind of stuff that we can do, and that's really important, to not just go, hey, we catch up every few months and say hello and don't really get to speak properly. So yeah, there's so much conversation that happens in the spaces in between, but there's so much that comes out of the ISPA Congress. Now, if you are interested in ISPA, I would recommend joining. Obviously, I'm biased because I've been and I keep doing these videos, so it feels like I must have some kind of appreciation of it. So I'm a bit of a fan, but it is something that gives you so much stimulus. So many stimuli to kind of go, what else is happening out there, and you know, how does that relate to what you do? So, you know, it is something that I would say, if you do get the opportunity to come along once, come along. You know, it's much different to what I thought it might have been. It's certainly more open and friendly to a lot of these kind of events that I've been to in the past. I've not been to masses, but I've been to them, and they can feel quite kind of separate, and there's a very obvious fourth wall between the audience and the speakers. It doesn't feel like that with ISPA. So if you're interested, then do engage, and you know, go online onto the website, go onto the Facebook and Twitter pages and social media pages. Drop me a line. There's other fellows out there who you can find online, who I'm sure will be happy to talk about experiences. You know, and if you see anything about ISPA that you want to put in, then fire off a message. You know, the ISPA team are brilliant and amazing and engaged. You know, David and Nora and Anne and Minji and the whole gang who make these things happen. You know, constantly I always say, like, you know, you're unsung heroes in these situations. You put so much work in to make these things happen, and you're running around behind the scenes, not being visible, but we do appreciate what you do. And you know, and to anybody who doesn't know them, you know, if you have any queries, they will absolutely be happy to engage and talk to you, and let you know what's going on. So hello to you all in New York. But yeah, you know, quite happy to engage and talk further. You know, this is yet another rambling video for me on YouTube, and I kind of apologise for that, because I don't know how interesting it's going to be for you to watch, but hopefully you might glean something from it that is of use. You know, this is a different type of video than what I'm aiming to do long term, because it's a bit more of a stream of consciousness thing. But yeah, I'm trying to put more stuff out there and think about what I'm doing in a way that can be shared with other people. So yeah, I hope it's been useful. You know, say there are the other videos, say they'll be down the side, or you can find them on the YouTube links of the videos of while I was in New York. I still want to do this super cut of kind of fancy edits of me traveling through New York and being at the Congress. So at some point I might do that, and it will be much more interesting to look at than this. But yeah, until I do that, this is kind of what you're getting for now. But yeah, if you're watching the videos and been looking at them, thanks for watching. If you haven't seen any of the other videos, like I say, you can check them out. And do let me know if you've got any thoughts or any comments or any questions. I'm happy to engage and to answer. So yeah, before I ramble on any further and bore you all to death, I will say goodbye from here. But yeah, thank you for watching. Sorry it's taken so long to get this online. But yes, hope it has been of interest. And like I say, drop me a message if you're interested. You know, I'm going to put more videos online, so you can obviously, you know, subscribe or whatever, and keep them up to date with that. And yeah, and hopefully it's been of interest. Thanks again for watching, and I'm sure speak to you guys soon. Thanks.